the world is so big. I always say, like, in Atlanta, we're like these small ants in like this big landfill. Like, and so what we think is nothing. What everyone says is not, it doesn't matter, because when you get to traveling, you go to Europe, you go to like all these different countries, you realize like what they do in Atlanta or wherever you're from, it's just, it means nothing.
Yes.
And so you're just basically wasting your time. And once you realize it's all a waste of time, you're going to be like, wow. A lot of people that I know feel like they're just existing. I don't want to exist, you know?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited for this episode. Actually, I need to find another adjective because remember, last episode, I was always saying excited. So now we're going to say elated. But I'm so elated to have this new guest on the podcast. Her name is Kevana Smith. She is a travel nurse and real estate investor. And she's also a friend that I've known for like 15 years, like over 15 years. We've known each other since middle school. Yeah. We've known each other since middle school. And I really wanted to bring her onto this podcast because there's something about shared experiences within people that grew up with you and came from the same community, and we both have grown into like such beautiful, amazing like young women. So I really just wanted to talk through, what it was like growing up in a community to also blossom into kind of this new, beautiful young lady that we both have become. So hey, Kevana.
Hey.
And if y'all catch us laughing too much, I'm sorry in advance because we can't take anything seriously together. But yeah, hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So just to start off, I would love for you to like just tell us a bit of your background, just like where you're from, where you were raised, and also like what brought you to LA.
Gotcha. So I'm from Atlanta, but I was born in New York. I was raised in Miami and Atlanta, and I come to LA to work.
Okay, to get money.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I know, particularly like we grew up in the same middle school. Like it takes a lot for a person to just like come out of their community. So I know you do travel nursing now, but like what really opened your mind to being able to consider a career like this?
So I love traveling. Even though I was raised in Atlanta, I never really liked Atlanta. So I always knew that like I would be traveling. So travel nursing kind of I actually didn't think I was going to be a travel nurse. When I became a staff nurse, I was just like, okay, this is that. And then COVID came and everybody was traveling. So I'm going to travel too. And so when I started traveling, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to stop traveling because I just like being in new places. It gave me the opportunity to be by myself, to kind of like intake in new experiences by myself and not have like other people's opinions around me kind of dictating like how I should feel about something. So I like that I can like solo travel because it's opened my mind up from like last year to this year. I kind of feel like I'm really different.
Okay. So you're talking about other people's opinions and not really being like, not conforming to them because you're able to be in different spaces. Mm-hmm. So like what opinions were you looking at? Was it opinions from family or friendly influences?
Everything.
Okay.
Family, friendly. Like, I felt like when I was in college, I feel like I didn't get to know myself till I was in college.
Yeah.
And that was because I was by myself. And so it's just everything. Like my family, I'm Caribbean, Jamaican and Guyanese, and they kind of like have this, Caribbean style way about them, and it's hustle and it's work hard.
Yeah.
And it's just hustle and work hard. And I don't want to just hustle and work hard. And so it's kind of like you get a career, this is what you do, this is where you stay, and you don't really like maneuver around. And then my friends, it's like, well, my past friends, I guess you can call it, they kind of just do the same thing, maybe want to be like a housewife or be a wife and stay in the city and, have kids and kind of live their life like that. And that's not really like how I want to live my life.
Yeah.
And so after traveling, I realized like, when I come out of Atlanta, I come to LA, I come to these bigger cities. I'm just like, everybody is so different. Everything is different. Like everybody's not doing the same thing. Everybody has different careers, and like their lives are just not the same. It's not I wake up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on the weekend I have fun. Like, I don't want to live like that.
You know what's so crazy? I even when I moved to LA, I kind of said something similar where it's like you kind of have to go be alone and like move to a different city or like move to a different space to really know who you are and what you want. And it really wasn't until I left to like Georgia that I really discovered who I was or like what I even wanted in life. Where like when you are always like used to people being like thinking the same way in the same community and then you start thinking that same way, you have to remove yourself or like kind of like introduce something new for you to really like understand that there's so much more to like the small thinking that like you're used to. Not calling it small necessarily, but like you don't see how big the world can be. Literally. Or like how like big the possibilities can be. So like knowing what you know now, what was like your like most like what experience did you learn from the most being by yourself that like taught you about the person you are today?
Just kind of what I liked. Honestly, like I used to like go to clubs, go to lounges, smoke hookah, do all this stuff that I honestly just would sit there and just be vibing to music, not really like enjoying myself too much. So I define what is like fun to me.
Yeah.
How do I have fun and when am I actually having fun and what's fun. Yeah. So traveling is what's fun to me. Seeing new things, like going to new places, eating new foods, exploring new cultures, being within the culture is what's fun to me. I don't really care for the clubs. I don't care, for the parties, for the same old ordeal. Like, and so I would say like leaving the city taught me that for one. But because I still stay there, primarily it's like I kind of have like a push and pull with me, like, and so I'm
There's
trying
a balance.
to like, it's a balance, and so sometimes I feel like I'm fighting myself, but because I have like a good grip on myself now, I know I don't conform to the back home mentality at all. Like if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it, and so, but I wouldn't say just having fun. Like what's fun to me, I'm all about enjoying life.
Okay.
And just living my life to the fullest. Like, we only have one life to live, and I feel like I'm gonna take everything out of this life. I don't want a normal like marriage, kids, sit in the house. No, ma'am.
You know what's so funny? I'm like in my head that that Courtney clip where it's like, I just want to live my life. And like, I don't know why that's playing in my head, but I was thinking about that while you were speaking. But also I remember like growing up in middle school and high school, okay, first of all, I don't really have friends like that. Like, I have a lot of, like, friends now, but they all come from, like, so many different communities where, like, I've had so many different walks in life that, like, I know a friend from each space. And you're definitely one of those people who, like, I knew from a space and then, like, we would just touch base every couple of years and that would be cool. Because to me, I'm like, shoot, we friends. Like, this is what I need. But I also remember, like, growing up in middle school, like, you really stood out to me because of just, like, how different you moved. And it's so easy to see when, like, everyone is doing the same thing and you're like, wait, like, this isn't right. And it eventually took me a while to even step into that because, like, there's a thing about noticing it, but then there's another, like, element about actually doing something about it. And when I even think about people back home or my family or friends that, like, are stuck in a cycle of, like, oh, I know this is not, like, okay, but I don't know what to do about it. I personally had to remove myself from, like, the space to really see it. So, like, it's so beautiful when, like, we are meeting now and, like, we're seeing how far we've gotten just by trying new things. But I also feel like I hate it about us Black people where it's like, new is like, what we doing? Like, you trying to be different? Yeah. Like, you trying to, like, nah, you lame. Like, it's always, like, an element of, like, comparing what's cool or what's lame.
Literally.
And it literally doesn't make sense.
Middle school, high school.
But, like, I feel like it still exists.
Yeah.
Like, even as an adult, we're like, okay, yeah, that's not cool. Like, I'm not about to do that because it looks a certain way, even though, you're setting yourself up for, like, the longevity of a career or a future that you want.
And that's what traveling, it showed me that the world is so big. There is no such thing as lame or cool. Like, the world is so big. I always say, like, in Atlanta, we're like these small ants in like this big landfill.
Yes.
Like, and so what we think is nothing. Like, it's like the size of a dot. Like, and so that's when I realized, like, none of it matters. Like, what everyone says it doesn't matter, because when you get to traveling, you go to Europe, you go to like all these different countries, you realize like what they do in Atlanta or wherever you're from, it's just, it means nothing.
Yes.
And so you're just basically wasting your time. And once you realize it's all a waste of time, you're going to be like, wow, a lot of people that I know feel like they're just existing. I don't want to exist, you know? And it's like they're existing within that same space, and it's just like, oh, I'm having fun tonight, quote unquote, but you're literally just existing. You'll go out to all these other countries and it's just, it's nothing. So
what does it look like? Because I know like your family has so many different cultures. So what does it look like coming from a family with so many different cultures, and you're trying to do something that's completely different from what they've like taught you or they see life as?
I would say like it's different, but it's similar, because what I was taught is hard work. So as long as like I'm working hard, it's just like a respect, you know, like, okay, she's working hard. My parents always say they don't have to worry about me because they see that I'm working hard.
Yeah.
But if they maybe didn't see that I was working hard, like, I'm a travel nurse now, but I want to go into real estate, which means I want more passive income.
Okay, no, you are in real estate.
Okay, exactly. Okay, let's I'm a travel nurse,
third house,
but
I'm trying to go into real estate.
I'm in real estate, and the goal is for me to work less, have more income passively. And so I don't know. I feel like that part of my life they don't get. They don't get the real estate part of my life. When it comes to travel nursing, oh, she's working hard. You know, it's a big boastful. Like, my daughter's a big travel nurse. But when it comes to my real estate ventures, I don't get the same victories about it. They don't get it, honestly. Oh, you're buying a house in the hood. Why are you doing that? Like, don't do that, you know? And so I would say, like, that part. And also, like, I mean, my mom traveled. I mean, she loved my mom's kind of free. That's where I kind of get the freedom thing from. And so, I mean, and she's open-minded too. So I don't really have like more so of a closed-minded family. I just kind of wish like they did more, or they could do more, or they wanted to do more. Yeah. And so
that's beautiful, because I genuinely resonate with people are not going to understand what they don't understand, and they can't praise what they don't understand because it's completely different from what they're used to thinking. And I know, like, even when you are trying to do something different and you are still holding on to the values that you've taught, especially hard work, because I know in the Black community, we work so hard in everything we do, and we're always trying to like do more work. What can we flip? What can we like, you know, get out of life? But then it's like sometimes we apply that to the wrong things. And then we fall because it's like, wait, that wasn't supposed to go there. That puzzle piece was not supposed to go in that little slot right there. So I think it's so beautiful, like how you were able to like ascertain that, just from like your own different experiences. And I know, like, even with like, I feel like every culture in a way is so similar, and it's in like the core beliefs and the core values. And it always goes down to like, okay, am I working hard? Am I disciplined? Am I this? Am I that? I love that. Okay, so I did have a question. Oh, I'm about to pull out my little itinerary of questions. Okay, cool. So, talking about like success, like I feel like you're going towards a field in a space that, like, again, you haven't really seen in your community. So like when you started like building this image of like what it looked to be successful for yourself, what, like, where did you see that? Or like what were the pieces that helped you like build that, since again you are coming from a space that you're still trying to create that as you go?
Honestly, physically, I did not see it, like around me.
Yeah.
I'm just a very free butterfly bird. I'm a very risky person. I'm a very like, I envision a lot of things for myself. So it's more so just like kind of what I see around in society and what I want for. I lived like this. I saw this and I want to do opposite. So I never saw anything that I wanted to do. I saw everything that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of like how I created what I wanted to do. I saw my parents working very, very, very hard. Yeah. I don't want to work hard. So I literally like was trying to figure out a way like, okay, how can I get away from working hard? And I didn't really know that I liked real estate until I bought my house in 2020. And so I bought my house in 2020 just because I didn't want to get an apartment. I'm like, no apartments. I'm just going to go straight from mom's house to my own house. And so that's what I did. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. I like this. Like, and so then after that, 2021 came around and I was like, oh, I like this so much. I want another one. And so, you know, I reached out to friends and was kind of trying to figure out like, okay, if I get another one, I'm not living in it. Like, how do I go about this? And so it was just constantly me trying to put myself around the people that knew the information that I wanted to seek. Because a lot of people say, oh, did you read books? Did you watch videos? I did none of the above. I did nothing, but but ask people questions. And because I work hard, and so I got the income for it. And I was like, okay, so I asked around. They said, hey, you should do this. And I just did it. It was very risky. It worked out though. I be looking back at it like, wow, like this went smoother than I thought. Okay. Like, and so that keeps happening to me. Like I'll do something that's kind of risky. Like coming to LA every time, it's kind of like on the riskier end, but it works out. And so I do stuff. I try. If it works out, cool beans, and I could just continue to put myself around the people that knows about it. Yeah. And that's how I learn about it. But I don't learn about it from like my inner circle or my family or anything like that. I'm kind of teaching them about it. And so, I haven't seen it.
So what is it? Okay, so knowing that like this is something you literally jumped into, girl, you was like, F it, I'm going to do it. Like, and we are like always walking into things when we don't know. And we're also like crippled by the fear of like, what if, what about this? I can't do this. And it kind of stops us from like moving out of our community to create a new community that can help foster it. Have you fallen or like have you failed in ways where it's like, all right, like this was crazy, but then what did it look like when you jumped back from it?
So I've had some things happen. Yeah. But I guess I feel like life's all about perspective. I never look at stuff like I've fallen. Yes. I look at stuff like I took the risk. I know that it's going to come with something. And when that something comes, I just deal with it. It doesn't scare me. It doesn't make me think, oh, get out of it. Stop. You don't know too much. No. If something happened, just go learn about it. Yeah. And do it again. Yeah. So that's just kind of how I look at life. Like life is all about perspective. I'm not scared. I'm not like this wasn't for me. No, it is for me because God wouldn't give me this mind I have.
Positive affirmation.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me this mind. I feel like I have this mind for a reason, you know? Yeah. And so I'm like, if I think it, I'm going to do it. Literally, if I think it, I'm going to do it. If I can see it, I'm going to do it. And if whatever comes behind it happens, that's just what happens. Just handle it as it comes.
Yeah, I love, oh my gosh, there's such a thing where like, I know for me, like I can be crippled by like just not knowing what I don't know. And then it's like, I can jump into things that I do know, but then just that thought can be like, all right, Jessica, you doing too much. Calm yourself down. So like, it's so beautiful. And I know that a lot of people can also aspire to like, shoot for the moon, and let's say they want to be a freaking real estate investor, do it. Like, find what you want to do and do it, sure. But then other people are like, I'm okay with being a wife and a mother and this. And that is, in its own right, just as, like, hardworking. It's just as, like, aspirational in their own ways. And I think that's, for me, that's what I had to learn. I literally, because I have big dreams too. I'm like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to do this TV show. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do like all these things that I know I can get done. And I would look at certain people and I'm like, why aren't you trying to aspire to get your life together? Like, is something wrong with you? And I literally had to learn that like, not everyone is trying. Like, that is not everyone's dream. Some people can dream of a mega church and other people can dream of a 10-person church and be just as happy. You know what I mean? Everyone's dream looks different. Literally. And once, I think for me, once I actually understood that, then I was like, all right, like, let me stop judging people. Like, because everyone is doing their own journey. God knows what he's doing. But I'm saying this to say, like, when you come from such like a small like community and everyone knows everyone and everyone's doing this, you kind of just like, for me, I was like, I want to be different. And like different looks different for each person.
Yeah.
And you may think that you're not doing something as small as like, oh, like I'm serving at the church, or like I'm doing this in my community and giving back home, but it's still just as impactful. And if you want to grow, you can, but like it's just about having a plan and having a plan and like shifting your environment to make sure like it works for you.
Right. That's why, like, even though I know where I come from, I know I come from a smaller community, or, you know, family or friends or whatever that kind of like think a certain way. I don't look at the way that they think is bad. I look at it as like, this is just, you know, what you want for yourself. I respect it. That's cool. Yeah. And so I never look at it like as something crippling. It's just like, it's whatever you want for yourself. However, I'm just going to surround myself with the people that kind of thinks like me. But if I love you, I love you. It's all love regardless. And you're a great person as well. And so that's just kind of like how I look at things, like with other people in their mindset. I kind of don't look at them like, oh, you need to do this and do that. Like,
yeah,
do whatever, you know.
But then what does it look like when you see yourself growing more or growing past friends that like you've had since y'all was in diapers? Like, and now like your paths are diverging.
At first it used to affect me. But now it doesn't. I just like, I'm a very nonchalant, it is what it is kind of person. Like, that is my, like, motto. It is what it is, you know? And so I don't know. I think I have this ability to recognize and do. As soon as I recognize, I do. And so once I recognize that, you know, I'm doing something, I'm not enjoying this, I'm hanging around you, I'm not really enjoying this, I'm just going to kind of separate myself, and it doesn't affect me. Like I said, it's all love. Like, no hurt, no malice, no bad vibes. Yeah. This is just what I want to surround myself around. Yeah. I feel like I have that right. And so I honestly never feel away. I think that I'm a very relationship kind of girl. And so my friends, do you, be great. Yeah. But when it comes to my partner, I could not be with a partner that thought differently than me.
That makes sense.
Because when it comes to me building my own family, I'm very obsessed with kind of like how I want to create my own family, because I guess of how I was raised. And I want to create my family very differently. I want them to think like how I think. I want them to see the freedoms in the world. I want them to just see that there's more to life than how I grew up. And so my partner has to be on that same wave. So when it comes to partnership, I'm very like, this is how this has to be. But when it comes to friendship, I'm kind of not like that. Like, I kind of accept you for however you are, because I feel like everyone brings a different thing. You might not have my mindset, but you're more loving, you're more caring, you're maybe not as nonchalant as I am. Yeah. So
that's so healthy. Wow, you went to therapy.
I did not go to therapy.
Oh, okay.
But I did like
it's giving I'm intelligent.
I did like 4 sessions though. But okay. I think. Look, I think I'm gifted, but look, don't.
Come on. I mean, you've always been smart, and I know this from the get-go. And it's crazy because, like, I'm also, like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm also coming from, like, a people-pleaser space where I think, like, it was so hard to go against the grain regardless of what I was doing. It was so hard to go against the grain because I wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted my friends who, like, couldn't think less about me. Like, I wanted them to be happy. I wanted my family to be happy. Like, I wanted everything to be perfect. So, like, it was so hard for me to, like, let it go. But I love what you said about, like, eventually it was like, well, they gonna think what they gonna think, or like, well, like, this is just how it's gonna be. Cause like, you think it's gonna be so bad, and then it happens, and you're like, I'm okay. Like, child, I'm definitely okay. And I know, particularly when like you are recultivating the community that is supporting what you do, that makes so much more of a difference than trying to hold on to one that's gonna like hold you back. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, it's like I need a mic to just. But yeah, okay. So, all right, I got one other questions. I wish it's giving like The View. I'm like, any questions from the audience? Okay. Yes. I think my last question is just knowing particularly that you're like moving this path like for face value, especially when you're picking a partner. It's kind of like you pick a partner that aligns with exactly what you're doing and where you want to go in life. That's literally the point of a partnership. Like y'all are supporting each other to like do that. So when you decided to like choose your partner, like what were some of those qualities that like you were looking for? And I'm asking this question specifically because I know some girls would be like, okay, 6'5", like he gotta be light skinned, he gotta have like good swag, like, you know, all of those things where it's like, okay, be for real. Like that's not gonna help you in 50 years. So like, what are some of those qualities that like really stood out to you in order to like know that you guys were like fit for the future that you were trying to create?
So I was literally that girl that 6'0", and I'm short, so 6 feet fine. But swag, like that was me.
Yeah.
I was that girl when I met him, and I didn't meet him intentionally. Like I met him because I was trying to invest, and I was like, "Hey, you're a real estate investor. Like, how can I invest? This is what I'm trying to get into. This is 2021, before I bought my second house." And he was just like, "Hey, like, this is what you can do. Take some notes, read some books, read some of these things that I email you, go from there." That's how I met him.
Yeah.
I did not meet him because I'm like, oh, you look like this or whatever the case may be. Like, it was not like that at first. And so I honestly grew into the traits. Like, once I met him and seen how he was, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I think I was growing within the relationship. Like I kind of got out of that childish mindset that I did have before, which was you got to look like this, you got to dress like this, you got to be like that. And so in the beginning, it was kind of like a push and pull because I was trying to figure out like, do I like him? Because of the old things that I liked, I was trying to see like, you know, but I realized that I really liked him because of his personality, how sweet of a person he was, how caring of a person he was. Like he already had the traits that I knew that I needed for my future, but I really didn't know it at that time. And it just kind of grew on me like, oh, like this is what a man's supposed to be like. This is how a man's supposed to act. And so he came with the traits and we both grew together because I guess he didn't really realize how great his traits was until we both kind of realized it together, honestly. Like, and so, you know, it was kind of like just something that happened for us. And the way he is, the way he thinks, that is what was most in his mindset. Like that was the biggest thing for me. And he honestly, financial, credit cards, credit, I didn't know much about those things. He was like feeding me. And so when I felt like he was a very valuable person, and how I used to define value, oh, like, I don't know, buy me stuff, take me on trips. Like that was kind of like my thought process, honestly. And so he kind of gave me like a new definition of what a valuable man looks like, of how much knowledge he poured into me. And he really didn't even know it because I didn't grow up, you know, seeing that stuff. I didn't grow up seeing like, you know, how to have good credit. I just already had good credit because I just knew how to save. Like I knew how to work hard. I knew how to save. I knew how to provide for myself. But he kind of gave me like the taxes, the CPA, the accountants, like what you need to do. Like, and so after like he was just, knowledge is my thing. I'm very like a, what is it, sapiosexual?
I don't know what that means, but sure.
It means that you're attracted to knowledge. Like,
okay.
And so, yeah, so like, that was it. And after that, everything else kind of fell in place, like the love aspect of it all, the caring, the affectionism, like everything. So
question, did you pay for his services at first?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
So it was definitely just something like where it was like, hey, like I'm trying to learn, and he just offered it.
Yeah, that's how he is. Like he's very like, you know, if you ask him a question, you know, and you're serious about it, he's going to give you some knowledge, give you some free game. And so,
okay. I'm asking because I feel like sometimes people are too scared to like pay for what they want. But like, especially when you can't find that for free, like it's giving, let's pay for it in our reasonable like budget. Like don't be dropping 10K you don't have.
Yeah, he taught me that I actually needed to start, you know, the more I needed to learn for things like he couldn't teach me, I do need to go buy somebody's, you know, program or, and he taught me the value of, I like to shop and all those things. And he was like, why you like to go and, buy these shoes or buy that? You need to invest in myself. And invest in myself was invested in my knowledge. And so I do go out there and buy people's programs and things like that because it's more valuable than you think.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like one of the many biggest takeaways is just like really the intentionality of community, like building a community that's going to kind of really foster and like support everything you want to do in life. Because especially when you're coming from a space where you don't see that around, you have to be really intentional about creating that. And that means letting things go, letting people go, letting mindsets go so that you can actually build that, because everything is literally attainable. It's just a matter of like, what am I willing to let go of to replace? Because it's never like, I'm going to just let it go and now I'm empty. Like God is always, taking everything that you have in order to replace it with something bigger and better.
I literally think part of life is about the relationships.
The relationships you carry and you have with people.
Because I think that for me, I didn't grow up seeing anything that I do now. And it all came from relationships. And that's why relationships are so important to me, because it's like you're helping me grow.
Yeah.
Everyone's helping me grow, within a way that they don't know it. And so that's why whatever relationship I have, that's what it is. If you're my friend, but you kind of don't know business, that's fine, because you're helping me grow within a relationship standard. You're teaching me, maybe how to be faithful, how to be a good person, how to be more... careless or not careless, but
when you selfless.
You're teaching me how to be selfless, and so, I don't know. I think the biggest takeaway for me, like being 26, like relationships. And I just want to keep growing better relationships, no more wasteful relationships. That's what I got out of the small town thing now, where I am now. No more wasteful relationships. Wow. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. We can end right there, y'all. Ain't nothing else to be said. But thank you so much. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
And
for having
I can't
me.
wait for this to come out. So I would love for you to drop your socials if you want people to follow you, or just be like, nah, y'all good. Like, because I feel like your page is private.
I'm a really low key person.
Okay, all right. So,
but no, you guys can follow me. Okay. My page is actually not private, but I'm very like. Not super big on social media, but my social media name is Cash XANA Anna. Where I got that name from, I don't know, honestly.
But it makes sense.
For sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But thank you guys.
Thank you,
Kevana. All right, bye y'all.